Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I welcome on stage the Honorable Commissioner for Industry here in Anambra State. Put your hands together for Christian Udechukwu.
Good to see you. Am I taking the microphone from you, or how does it work? You said you're supposed to do are you giving a keynote speech? Yes, I am. Yes.
So you can do that here then before you. Are you on the panel as well?
I think so. Yeah. But I'm supposed to be seeing the
Watching you stand alone, all of my doubt suddenly goes away somehow. One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you, darling. Don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 years.
Huh? Thank you.
Time stands still, beauty and
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christian Udechukwu Christian. I'm going to stand on existing protocols. Mr. Governor, sir, I welcome you all once again to this inaugural Anambra Investment Summit. I had prepared some slides to speak through, but given that I have just 2 minutes, I'm just going to talk you through the agenda of government as it concerns industrialization in Anambra State. The mandate of the Ministry of Industry in Anambra State are 4 or 5-fold. The first is to bring back dead industries. Industries that we had in Anambra that have gone down, like premier breweries. Our mandate is to give it life. We are also mandated to build up weak industries. And that is to say that we have a stage, a sort of escalator by which we are developing programs to help nano industries, micro industries to transit to the stage of becoming small and medium enterprises. And we have funding in place through the Anambra State Small Business Association, funding within the Ministry of Industry, funding from development finance partners, through which we are able to help companies get on that escalator and then move from being nano to small to medium and then large enterprises. We also are mandated to help strong industries become stronger. And that is to say that there are medium-sized enterprises that are not as big as the large names that has been mentioned on stage here. And our job is to identify those companies and support them through official government policy and through some of the deliberate structures that the government is creating to enable them transit from being medium-sized companies to becoming large industries. Part of the mandate that we have is that we are also able to support the strong industries to become stronger and the stronger ones to become our champions across Africa. Now, in that regards, we have 2 major policy strands. One is to encourage Made in Anambra. That is to say that everything that is produced in the state is supported by the state by deliberate government policy to assure, through procurement processes and other deliberate mix of policy, that they are encouraged to grow their businesses and to become stronger than they are. So we have a Made in Anambra agenda that is designed to support existing industries from automotive manufacturers, pharmaceutical firms, food and beverage companies, oil and gas companies, to become household names across the continent. Now, we also have a policy to ensure that the stronger become the strongest. And that is where our import to export policy becomes essential. How does that work? Well, the government is deliberately engaging with importers in Nigeria who are from Anambra to consciously transit from being importers. There are importers in Anambra who are importing up to 100 containers every week. Some do 100 in a month. And they have been doing the same business for about 10, 20 years. And this government has come in with a deliberate, purposeful policy to assure that we enable them to transit from being importers to manufacturers for export. And to that extent, we are engaged with big development finance institutions like Afrexim Bank that has further funds for the purposes of export to enable them set up businesses within the structures that we are creating in Anambra State. And what are those structures? That is where our industrial parks come into being, where our export processing zones come into being, where our oil and gas free zones come into play, where the pharmaceutical emporiums come into play. So what we are doing in terms of the big policy strands that you're hearing is that we're directly engaged with our businesses in Anambra, both through the organized private sectors such as Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, through the Chambers of Commerce, and other associations to ensure that we embed them in the program of government. Now, in respect to the delivery, of the industrial parks, the export processing zones, and the industrial clusters, and the industrial cities, we are reaching out and will be doing so in a sustainable way, going forward with development institutions around the world, through some of the commercial embassies that are in Nigeria, to get their involvement and to be able to draw down on funds that are dedicated to industrial development and infrastructure development in Africa. We want the world to come to Anambra State to develop, to invest in industrial development and to serve Africa from Anambra. So our benchmark for the industrial development is global in nature. It is global because we are developing industries that are not just going to be serving Anambra, not just going to be serving Nigeria or ECOWAS, but industries that can take full advantage of the Africa Free Trade Area of 1.2 billion people and $4 trillion market size. That is our goal. And we're happy to have institutions like Afrexim Bank and other commercial banks that have a presence across Africa being part of this program, which will be unfolded in March of next year by His Excellency, Mr. Governor, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, CFR. Thank you. I'm sure that in the panel discussion that will unfold in the next minute, we are able to give you a lot more insight into what is happening. But I have a 54-page slide presentation that gives you everything you need to know about the industrial agenda. And it will be sent to you. Once you have registered and your details is out there, be sure that you receive it in your mail or on WhatsApp. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. Can we give him another big round of applause for setting the tone perfectly for what will be a great panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, to help us moderate this panel, I'm going to be calling on someone who has vast experience in the private sector. She's worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers, worked at IHS Tower in the Middle East, and is an MBA holder from the prestigious Lagos Business School. She's currently the Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning in Anambra State. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Chiamaka Nake.
Mr. Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, Mr. Deputy Governor, let me stand on existing protocols. I'll be moderating my name is Chiamaka Nake. I'll be moderating the panel on industrial parks and special processing zones, special economic zones in Anambra State. And this is in consideration as pathways for our industrialization agenda. With me on this panel are I think I need to call them up now. First, I'll have to call on Mr. Ruben Bamidele, National Program Officer, UNIDO, that's United Nations Development Organization. Please join us. Sir Innocent Uzechi, a director at NEBSA. NEBSA is Nigeria Export Processing Zone Authority. Please join us on the panel. Mr. Don Ebebu, MD CEO of Tiger Foods. Then Lady Ada Chukwudozie, the chairperson, Anambra Ebony and Enugu Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Before they make their way up, I'd like to reemphasize that our purpose for this panel is actually to identify, to discuss the relevance of industrial parks and special processing zones as a pathway, as pathways to driving our industrialization agenda. In the few presentations we've had, we already identified our vision remains to build a livable and prosperous smart megacity, an axis for sustainable prosperity. And I know we had also highlighted our 5 solution agenda under the industrialization and economic transformation agenda. That is actually where we are looking to industrialize Anambra. And industrial parks and special processing zones, economic zones are actually the pathways we are considering. And what we're going to do today is actually to discuss the relevance of this pathways and see how Anambra State can optimally benefit, and also to help us fast track and also minimize the learning curve as we embark on this journey. Thank you so much, panelists. And I don't know if you can quickly introduce yourself. We have 25 minutes to do this, and we believe we can actually have some fruitful conversation within the time. So if you can quickly just call just your name, so we can quickly make this happen. Please, start off. Your name, please.
Okay, my name is Dr. Ruben Bamidele. I work for UNIDO.
I'm Sir Innocent Okudelu Uzechi. I represent the Managing Director of Nigerian Export Processing Zones Authority, Professor Adesoji Adesuba. I'm a director in that agency.
My name is Don Ebube Ogu, the MD of Tiger Foods Limited.
My name is Lady Ada Chukwudozie. I'm the GED of Dozie Group and the Chairman Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, covering Anambra, Enugu, and Ebonyi states. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, panelists, and also Anambra State is grateful that you made our time to be here. My first question will go to Mr. Ruben, and that will be, as you heard me say, we are hoping that Anambra State will be an African new axis for sustainable prosperity. How can we drive sustainable prosperity with industrialization?
Okay, thank you very much. Industrialization generally has been seen to have a relationship with economic development. Industrialization, particularly with establishment of the manufacturing sector, which is driven by innovation and supportive infrastructure, can promote sustainable prosperity. Now, to engender this in Anambra State, it will be good to develop viable policies, industrial policy, and then strengthen institutions that can help to promote sustainable prosperity. Now, the industrial policy is not just one that is anchored on productivity and economies of scale, but one that will create the necessary shared prosperity for the state in terms of using the available resources within Anambra State, in terms of raw materials in the agri sector. We know how strong Anambra State is also in the area of automotive sector, but also in the use of human resources, particularly by anchoring on women and youth to drive industrialization. So apart from creating the shared prosperity via the policy also has to look in the direction of promoting competitiveness in such a way that goods and services that are produced in this sector in the state will be affordable, the cost of production has to be brought low, and in doing this, there will be need to galvanize the support of the private sector, bring in the international financial institutions, as we have heard from His Excellency the Governor before. And thirdly, the policy has to be one that safeguards the environment. We must be contributing to the net zero. We must promote circularity in production in the manufacturing sector. We must ensure that the environment is not jeopardized. And of course, there will be need to strengthen institutions and knowledge through this sector to be able to get the needed prosperous state anchored by the industrialization of the state. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think you've clearly stated that we must have a policy, and the policy we need to have a clear plan on how to optimize the limited resources we have. Thank you so much. That's well taken. The next question goes to Sir Innocent Uzechi, and this is actually critically on the industrial parks, right? So we're asking, what's the benefit of industrial parks? And Anambra State is looking to have the license by first quarter 2024. How can you support us in ensuring that we realize this vision by next year, first quarter?
Thank you, Moderator. The benefits of special economic zones and how NEBSA can help. If you are looking for the benefits of free trade zones or special economic zones, just ask Dubai how they started. Ask the Chinese how they started. Ask Mauritius. But we may not have the resources to go beyond Nigerian shores. Within Nigerian enclave, some states have made good use of the free trade zone scheme and have propelled their economy massively. Lagos, Ogun, even Kano. In Kano, what we have in Kano is a public zone, but the state government has so encouraged that federal government zone and is thriving very well. In Ogun State, in that particular one free zone in Ogun State, the Chinese will bear me witness, there are over 55 up and running companies in that small enclave. So the free trade zone scheme with the federal government incentives attached to it is the way to go. Many of us rush to Dubai, but many of us do not know that Dubai started as a free trade zone, and that's how what the economy they used to propel, the scheme they used to propel their economy. How can NEBSA help? NEBSA can help in various ways, and we've been helping the states and stakeholders that come forward. In fact, my MD is a professor. He sends his regards that he's not physically here. When he comes back from the New Delhi trip, of course, we will get in touch and we'll let the state know what it takes. The free zone scheme has been run for over 30 years in the country. We have our experiences. Some have succeeded, some have also failed. So we'll let you know why those that failed, so that you don't make the mistake they made. One of those mistakes, and I want to emphasize, is this. Insulate the free zone scheme from politics. We had a visionary governor from the South. I will not mention his name. And things were running very well. 8 years after he left office, all the good policies he initiated had gone into comatose. I want to appeal to a visionary leader we have in Anambra State now. Craft your programs in such a way that they will outlive your tenure. Because our experience is that even if your successor comes from the same party, our experience is that most people go for what they call legacy projects and abandon the good things that their predecessors have started. And that is the bane of our development in this country. So as you think about having a free trade zone scheme in Anambra, please ensure. I'm happy that the Afrexim Bank lady mentioned Anambra Economic City. They don't, in addition to their pronouncements, Afrexim Bank, you will not get a drawdown if they discover that you're not getting it well. So for her to mention Anambra Economic City, where they have given them drawdown, that means Anambra. The previous administration in Abia State got it right. Please take a look, because you may not take what I tell you as a regulator. Go to those who have succeeded. Anambra City, they have not done groundbreaking ceremony, but they have gone far in putting the round pegs in round holes. I will advise, also in Lagos State, the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the Chinese are here, they are the one running that place. How is Lagos participating and allowing them to thrive so that everybody, and you know what is happening? From my experience, most of the zones that are very successful, if you look critically, the people that are running the show there, some of them are from Anambra State. The Dangote refinery is in a free trade zone. Yeah. Dangote refinery is in a free trade zone. A year before the commission of that refinery, the man who piloted that scheme is from Anambra, but somehow God took his life. So he did not succeed. In Ogun State, one of the actors of the free trade zone in Ogun State that is surviving is from Anambra. In NEPSA, you have up to 3-4 people at the directorate level who are from Anambra State. So this is an opportunity for you to leverage on the free trade zone scheme to forward your economy. That is much I would know now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's quite insightful. I think the point on we are clear on what that NEPSA is out to support Anambra State, and also the sustainability of projects is very important, and I think you've clearly laid that out. Thank you so much. I think the next is to Mr. Don Ibebu, the MD of Tiger Foods. Just to mention, we know that you're a guru when it comes to exporting and also letting some of the products you produce to the world. The question will be, what do you think the federal government and the state government need to do to ensure, to enable the environment for ease of operation for private sectors in this regard?
Thank you, moderator. I think the governor gave justice to this question when he spoke some minutes ago. So whatever I'm going to be saying will be resting on some of the points raised by the governor. And by the way, the governor, let me also say that you sold the vision of these industrial parks where you spoke some few minutes back. I don't think there is any investor or any industrialist in this room that will not be happy to move to this next stage with you. But let me come in from an investor's point of view. Regulatory policy of these industrial parks must be made attractive to the private sector. And to do that, the private sector must be in the know of what you are planning to do or the kind of regulations you want to roll out. The idea should be to attract the private sector. Whatever benefit the government is going to get will be much later. But this time around, whatever regulation that will be in place should be able to be an attraction to the private sector. And it is the reason why the private sector should be in the formative stage of making these regulations. Let me also mention the issue of being the chief marketer of industries in the country, in Anambra State. When you visited Tiger Foods, you also mentioned that. And it is instructive for us to know that it is a very key role that we are taking. Every single factory or industry you are going to visit, you are going in there with a lot of fanfare. You are going in there with a lot of press. You are exposing that industry to the public. It is not a child's play. And it has to trickle down to the rest of the government functionaries. A station whereby if you open the newspapers or the televisions or social media, you see government functionaries visiting burial ceremonies, child dedications. They need to begin to re-engineer their thinking and begin to visit industries in their localities. And permit me to also borrow two words from some of the two words you frequently used here about being intentional and deliberate. Let everybody be the chief marketer of every single product and services we are making in Anambra State. That way, we all become the chief marketer of each and every one of us. It is a very good incentive for an existing investor and a prospective investor. Let us also look at the skilled workforce. There is a dearth of skilled workforce in Anambra State. And a few weeks ago, I was meant to understand that you have a project called One Youth, Two Skills. A fantastic idea. If I have to also come from the private sector point of view, I will say, apart from the skills that they are getting, maybe from the ministry, you may also have to be intentional by working with the private sector. Let us develop a program whereby at the end of their theoretical trainings, let industries absorb them, not as a permanent workforce, because those industries may already have their own workforce already, but let them come in as an industrial attaché or people who are coming in to be mentored by these industries. By so doing, even if it is between 3 to 6 months, by so doing, we are creating a pool of skilled workforce for existing industries and then prospective industries. Infrastructure, of course, we are taking it for granted. You have started doing a lot already. But there is one aspect that I want to also bring to your attention. You mentioned the importance of Anambra State within the geographical business zone of the country. But there is something that we are no longer seeing because the public parks are shrinking. People are deliberately reducing the public parks. And that's why it is becoming a little bit difficult for you to have trailer parks in Anambra State. They are no longer there. If I need about 50 trailer trucks in Onitsha today, I may have to move over to Asaba to go and get that. And that used to be the biggest advantage Onitsha was offering to the country. Because from Onitsha, you can access any part of the country, even if you need 100 trucks, 200 trucks, within 1 hour. It is no longer happening. So we need to also look at that and begin to look at setting up parks for all these trucks and then find a way to modernize them to be able to be available for us. Otherwise, if we have to go to other states to get trucks to move goods and services, it becomes a little bit of a challenge to the industrial sector. Let me stop here.
Thank you so much. That's quite insightful. The next question is to Lady Ada Chukwudozie, and this is asking, we have identified mixed-use industrial parks as one of the parks we are looking to develop. Are there some sectors you think we can prioritize based on your experience?
Thank you, moderator. To recommend the industries to be cited in mixed-use industrial park, which promotes inclusive, sustainable industrial development, I adopted the value chain development approach. So if I'm talking about any industry, it means that I'm talking from the scratch, from the extraction or from cultivation to the last end user. So for obvious reasons. Then certain considerations and certain analysis I made. I tried to analyze the existing industries and their sectorial distribution, their size, with reference to the turnover and strength, work strength. I also analyzed the existing resources, natural resources, and deposits in the state with possible applications in various industries. Other considerations or comparative analysis was also based on the global market, national demand and national production, and compound annual growth rate. Then basic key consideration was on the versatility and how impactful that industry should be. I also put into consideration the fact that the raw materials needs to be sourced locally and also to efficiently harness, optimize and maximize the natural resources where we have comparative advantage in the wake of import substitution, industrialization, and export-oriented industrialization. I also took into consideration the industry that will improve, support, and boost existing industries. Of course, aligning with the focus and objective of the government in setting up the industrial park. And also, I considered the need for the industry to support the environmentally challenged state that we are living in. So I proposed a 70-20-10 distribution of the lightweight industry, heavyweight industry, and the service sector. And that service sector must include an incubation hub. And that incubation hub must have a science tech park in it in order to support the value chains in that particular industry. So on the heavy industry, from the extractive industry, I selected natural gas because when you process and beneficiate natural gas, you will be having feedstock for power generation, which is very critical and basic, and that also will give you feedstock for fertilizer, making Anambra a fertilizer hub, for petrochemicals, the plastic, and of course, the pharmaceutical industry. Also, I looked at the crop production. So, agro-based industries. I selected cassava because it has 21 derivatives for export. And also, the byproducts of cassava can be applied to various sectors of the industry, like food and beverage, wood, pulp and paper, textile, and so on. I also selected the bamboo industry because bamboo has a lot of economic and environmental values. Bamboo is famed to be an air purifier and a soil conservation. It's famed to have air purifier and soil conservation capabilities. Okay. Also, this bamboo has a strong tensile strength, even stronger than steel, with 28,000 28,000 pounds per inch compared to steel that has 23,000 pounds per inch. Also, this same bamboo
Please,
can be
help us
applied
round
in
up?
various industries. It's very versatile. It can be applied to the textile, wood as a substitute, to food and beverage, to chemical, to pharmaceuticals, because the leaves have medical, it's very potent, and is the fastest growing tree on planet Earth. Then I also selected, of course, our oil palm and coconut palm trees for their economic values and various applications to the various sectors. Then finally on the livestock, I selected poultry for some obvious reason. Outside the fact that it can be applied to the food industry, but the dry egg powder is one that is about 95%, more than 95% imported. So the demand deficit is about 95 or 96%. And the local production can only cover about 4%, and most of the industries are domiciled in the West. So we can look into that as a livestock. Of course, permit me to reiterate that for the bamboo industry, you can imagine that all the toothpicks, or most of the toothpicks that we even use on your dining table, are all imported. So Anambra State can be a hub that can be producing toothpicks. Of course, you have kaolin, you have silicates. Those kaolin can be deployed in cosmetics, pharmaceuticals equally, and then the silicates and the iron ore can be considered for the motor vehicle. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I see that our panelists have a lot to say, but we are running out of time. I think we're supposed to actually go another round, but we really can't do it. We are way behind schedule. So we'll just take one question from the audience. I think we have one person who wants to ask a question.
Mr. Governor, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Emmanuel Obiora. My question is, I have listened to all the presentations right from the onset, and I realize that in as much as we have not considered the situation we have in Nigeria today, vis-a-vis the fact that we have a lot of challenges in terms of being able to sustain market shares, that one of the things that has crippled most companies is that they are not able to sustain a market share in this challenging environment. So the question is, if we have to develop a strategy that should be able to circumvent the current challenges we have with the Western manufacturing, the dumping ground we have, with the presence of also our Southeast, can you hear me very well? Okay, what I'm saying is, can you hear now? If we have to take cognizance of the fact of the problems we have in Nigeria now, with relation to the shares of companies in terms of marketability of products, because you can produce and fill your warehouses, but if you're not able to sell and make profit to sustain your company, you are virtually going to go bankrupt after a while. And the challenging is now very, very tough. So how do we now put strategies together to be able to circumvent these challenges we have right now? For example, if you go to China and bring in products here, those products will actually, you can be able to make more profit from them compared to the ones you manufacture locally. The issue is just economic of scale. So now, with this challenging environment, you have the Chinese, you have the Indians, they're all manufacturing, competing in the same market. Definitely, there are two industrial approach You can manufacture something you want to export. But if you manufacture something you want us to consume here, then it means that the money actually will not stay here. So the problem is, how do you, I don't know, you're not getting what I'm asking. How do you, can I use the number?
The mic is echoing, so we're struggling to hear you. It's echoing, so we can't hear it very well. So we can hear you if you use your ordinary voice, but then just make it very brief so we move.
Now, can you hear me very well? Yes. Now what I'm saying is, hello? Is it better now? Okay, what I'm saying is that if you manufacture products and they stay in your warehouses and you are not able to sell them, they will eventually expire in your warehouses. You've not made anything. But if you manufacture and you're able to sell, make profit and break even, then you can even think of expanding and then you're sustainable. In the present situation we find ourselves now, where you have importers, people importing from Western world manufacturing, India's manufacturing, Chinese manufacturing here. Most of this money, the wealth created, are not staying here. They must be taken out of the country. So we have challenges. The challenges we have is that you can't access the forex because it's
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
His question has actually led to the things I would have loved to say. Many other things I would have loved to say, but there is no time. To the forward-looking governor, as you want to start this program, concentrate on products that you already have demand in Anambra and within the Southeast states. Because like he said, if you are targeting export and you manufacture and bureaucracy makes it difficult for that export. For instance, in organizing this program, where are the customs, except if they are in Mufti? Where are the Nigerian Customs Service? Where is the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission? Where is the Nigerian Export Promotion Commission? And what is the synergy between Nigerian Anambra Investment and Protection Agency and these other regulators? So you need them. You need to bring them on board at this planning stage. So to answer his question directly, the free zone scheme offers you that incentive. One, importations into the free trade zone scheme are import duty free. All importations into the free trade zone scheme are import duty free. And export from the free trade zone scheme to the Nigerian customs territory is also import duty free if the raw material were taken from the customs territory. The only thing you pay duty if you're exporting from the free zone into the Nigerian economy is that originally waived import duty for you. So you have many advantages in citing a free trade zone scheme in Nigeria, a free trade zone in Nigeria. One, all your importation into that zone will be free, and you have opportunity to satisfy the local market and pay the small duty. Again, you discover that in Nigeria there is what we call import prohibition list. Every year, the Nigerian Customs Service and the Federal Ministry of Finance comes up with what they call import prohibition list. What, for whatever reason, cannot be imported into Nigeria. The free zone scheme in Nigeria is structured in such a way that those items on the Nigerian import prohibition list can now be brought into Nigeria from the free trade zone scheme upon the addition of only 35% value, while they are being processed or assembled in the free trade zones. So enormous opportunity to solve that problem exists in the free trade zone scheme. Thank you so much.
Before we leave, let's just take one message, a 1 minute message from the other panelists so we can call it a day. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Within the framework of the UN Sustainable Development Partnership Framework, UNIDO can bring some support to Anambra State in terms of what the state is planning to do by providing technical assistance for feasibility studies and master plans development, the bidding process in terms of bid specifications, launching of the bids, evaluation of the bids, to the point of selecting the contractor that the state is interested in. We can provide support in the area of renewable energy development within the parks and the special economic zones. As an agrarian state, we can do a lot in the area of biomass power generation. We did a feasibility study for rice husk to electricity in Ebonyi for 5 megawatts. We did 27 megawatts of Oguaundo from sawdust in the sawmill clusters. We can also generate electricity through flowing rivers within the state that can power these special economic zones and industrial parks. For as long as the rivers or dams have good head and high flowing rate, power can be generated to support these parks and special economic zones. Also, we can provide technical assistance to capacitate the MSMEs, particularly through what we call our LIFE program, Learning Initiative for Entrepreneurs. We can also provide support to enhance the quality of what is produced, because inventories pile up when there are no buyers for the goods and services. And for the goods to access the local and international market, the standard and the quality must be very high. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we can't go further. Thank you so much. I'll be discussing getting any other information from you. Thank you so much for your time. We really can't go further than this. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.